Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Welcome to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching, and thanks as always to the editor, producer, and behind the camera for our series, Brandon Cooley. We're in the studios of Eagle Community Television. Record-setting, record-breaking, outstanding, marvelous, incredible. No matter what adjective you pick, the 2017 Fort Hays State University football season was one for the books. Two of the people who witnessed every minute of the achievement join us on our Community Connection. Chris Brown, Tiger football head coach, and the voice of the Fort Hays State University Tigers, Gerard Welbrock. Next, our Community Connection.
It's time to explore the great indoors.
Pirates ahead, all hands on deck and ready the cannons.
Where imagination has no boundaries.
And then the princess rode the dragon.
And fun is limitless.
Captain, we're ready for liftoff.
Explore the great indoors with Eagle Communications, with TV and internet starting at $84.99 for 2 years.
Eagle Communications is your complete business solution with options to fit any budget. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. Eagle Communications will build your personalized business plan. Call us at 877-61-EAGLE.
And welcome back to Community Connections. Gerard Welbrock with you as we visit with the head football coach at Fort Hays State University, Chris Brown. Tigers coming off a monumental season, the best in program history, MIAA champions. Hosted a playoff game, didn't quite go the way they wanted, losing to Ferris State, but looking for bigger and better things here in the upcoming season. And Coach, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. Boy, what a wild ride it has been since your arrival at Fort Hays State. It's been an ongoing process, and hopefully Tiger fans got a first taste of what could be a lot of success on the football field with last season, the MIAA championship, and a trip to the playoffs.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope this is just the start of, this program that we're trying to build. I'm trying to build tradition and have a winning tradition and continue to win, for years to come. And, I love it here in Hays. My family loves it here in Hays. And I love this community and the support this community gives, to Fort Hays State football and to Fort Hays State athletics. I mean, it is tremendous. But, some of those games you look back and to see the number of fans that were there and how loud and crazy it was. And, as a coach and as a player, and as our players, that's excitement, and that brings excitement to us. And hopefully that builds excitement in the younger kids as well, and want them to play football more into the middle school and into both high schools as well. And hopefully those kids will become Tigers someday. But, it was fun. It was exciting. I really enjoyed it. A lot of thanks to you and all that you did, through that, because, you're a big part of that as well, of just promoting us and covering us, through the years. And just listening to you on the radio is, I don't get to listen to you much, but I always do listen to your highlights.
You're not tuned in. We're giving you suggestions the whole game.
I know, but I always listen to your highlights after the game just to hear your voice and how excited you are about the things going on. But it was fun, it was exciting, and hopefully we continue to do this for years to come.
We've seen it in other sports, especially basketball. Obviously, Fort Hays State has a great tradition with 3 national championships. I mean, you have a great season. I mean, the fan support is incredible, and it's been good, but obviously this year was over the top, and some of those games with the packed Lewis Field. I mean, just get a taste of what it can be, and you get this program. You can put another good year together. I mean, the fans have been wanting a quality product on the field, and it's been there, but this season being a special one, the fans really came out in full force. It was fun to watch.
It really is. It started about 4 years ago, that first 7-4 season, and then we went 2 back-to-back 8-4 seasons. And this year, just our players and our coaches did an excellent job of preparing for these games, and going to 11-1 this year and winning the MIAA. But that's what we want to give this community, is something on Saturdays to go enjoy, to go watch, to be with their families, to socialize with one another, and I think it just brings the community closer. And I really think it does. And even my sons are saying that I've never seen the community come so close together. Than on Saturdays when they come to those football games. Just the the way they were talking to one another and being there for one another and having each other's back, and that's huge. But that fan support is tremendous. I can't thank them enough because some of those games, the Pitt game, the Washburn game, the Ferris State game. I mean, the fans there were tremendous. The crowds were packed. I've never seen a line all the way out to the street looking to get tickets or get their tickets. Since I've been here, and I can't thank them enough.
Yeah, and I mean, just go into the store on Sunday. I mean, you run in. That's all they want to talk about was Fort Hays State football. And I can't remember the last time there's been such a buzz. At least certainly since the mid '90s when the Tigers had a couple of playoff appearances. Talk about the rebuild of the. I mean, I say rebuild of the program, but obviously when the Tigers jumped from the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference to the MIAA, it was a tough leap, and Fort Hays State was kind of a middle-of-the-pack RMAC team at that time. And as we know, the MIAA, it's a beast. I mean, there's some great football. We've seen that year in and year out. It's been an ongoing 6-7 year process to get this program where it is, and it takes a lot of work from a lot of different people.
Yeah, it does, and Curtis Hammockey's done a great job, and he's got our support, got my back. Brad Haynes, does a tremendous job too. I mean, there's so many people that go into it. Matt Cook. I mean, there's a lot that goes in. Mike Barnett. I mean, everything that goes into our football program and things happening is a reflection of them and their leadership, and them allow me to do some things to help build our program and make it better. Whether it's equipment or headsets or whatever it might be, new computers or just the little things that nobody really thinks about. To help improve our program, but. It's getting the right coaching staff. There's really only one guy on my staff that's still here from when I first started, and it's just getting the right mixture and make sure I got the right guys that fit who I am as a coaching staff and have the same philosophies that I do and treat the kids the same way that I do. And that's, we got to love them, we got to care for them, but we still have to discipline them when they do the things that they're not doing right, and make sure the kids are getting their academics taken care of and making sure they're graduating. All 13 of these seniors are going to graduate this year, and that's a huge accomplishment by them, and that's us making sure we're pushing them through doing the right things. And then it goes to the players, finding the right kids that fit Hays, Kansas, that fit our coaching staff, that fit the kids that we have now. And we didn't build it with a lot of JUCO kids. We did it with high school kids my first year when we got here, and not a lot of them made it through. I think only this senior class, only 6 of those kids that started here, made it through the process. But as the years go on, we're getting more and more kids, sticking it out and going through the process and understanding what we're doing. But it took time, but it was just sticking to the grind and sticking to our philosophies of how we were going to do things and making sure that we got the right kids that fit us, that fit Hays, Kansas, that fit Fort Hays State football. And it's worked so far, so I think we're going to stick with what we're doing.
Well, and I imagine for those players, when you start to see the dividends, I mean, all the hard work and, hey, you stick it out, you're going to get your chance, excuse me, and you're going to get your chance to play, and we're going to win some football games on top of it. It makes it a lot easier to stick it out those tough times, and face it, it's not easy being a redshirt. You practice every day, you're on scout team, knowing you're never going to see the field, and it might be 2 more years. That's difficult, but when you have that success and that carrot at the end of the line that I'm going to be a part of something special, it's got to make it a lot easier for them.
It is, and it is not fun being a redshirt guy, because you're going against the #1 offense, the #1 defense. I mean, these guys are 21 to 22 years old, and most of the guys starting on our team, junior, seniors, and you're a high school kid, a freshman, going against these big, strong guys day in and day out. But what I talk to them about is if you go down there and work your tail off and work on your techniques and fundamentals and practice hard every single day, you're going against some of the top guys in the conference. You're only going to make yourself better if you compete every single day with these guys. And our kids have done that. And it's, you just got to keep communicating with those young guys. I think a lot of coaches lose focus on, keeping that relationship built with those young guys because they're not so involved with them anymore, through the season because they're so worried about, winning the next game with the guys that they have right now. But you just got to stay in touch with them. I try to talk to them once or twice a week after practice just to make sure that they're doing okay. And we're still checking the classes. We still do study hall things with them as well, but it's just keeping them engaged, keeping them knowing that they still are important, that it is a process, and that their time will come. And when their time comes, they better be ready to play because it might be next year as a redshirt freshman. Who knows?
You kind of touched on a little bit of your coaching philosophy. You, of course, were a standout at Pittsburgh State, and there's been a long coaching tree that kind of goes back to Pittsburgh, and it's got its fingerprints all over the MIAA. But I imagine you got a lot of your a lot of your coaching style and your ideas were there. Of course, you played at Liberal, and a lot of people may forget you actually coached there for a while before you got into the college ranks. But obviously, I'm sure you've got a lot of guys who have been influences in your career as a coach.
I have, Gary Cornelson, they're at Liberal, and he was a tremendous. He's over there my senior year, but he was a great football coach. Coach Haskell was there, the first 3 years, of my career there at Liberal, and then at Pittsburgh State I had Chuck Broyles, who was a tremendous coach. I mean, he's tough, he's hard, he's fair, but he teaches you the game, and he makes sure you do things the right way, and you're acting appropriately, and he's just one of those guys that really carried on, in my life. And then being at Washburn with Craig Sure, I learned a lot from him. He's a great man. He's a great football coach. He's a great husband, a great father, and I learned a lot from those guys as my years go on. And it's not just one of them. I think I've taken all three of them and used a little bit of everything, to kind of get my coaching style and my coaching philosophy. And and I'm going to keep learning as the years go on, and then find different things that other guys do as well. But I got to figure out what fits us and our staff and our team, to really keep this thing rolling.
Well, you mentioned some good ones. Obviously, they've had great success on and off the field. When you took this program over, I mean, obviously there was a lot of work that had to be done to compete and get to the upper half of the MIAA. What's the biggest challenge when you take over a program like a Fort Hays State that's had some success, but traditionally hasn't sustained a lot of long-running success in football? I'd imagine the culture, as much as anything, to change that philosophy to we can win, and we can win on a consistent basis.
I think just getting those kids to believe, come in and work in, put the work in and day out. And, our kids have done that since I first got here. They started with that very first class. Granted, that first year we were 4-7. We only had 60 kids on the football field. And, that's not very many, because when I first got here, we ran a lot of kids off. I wanted to find kids that wanted to be, at Fort Hays State University, not just here for the money. And, so it was a process. And then every year we just kept trying to find kids, that fit who we are and understand the process and believing in the process. And, there were some very low times, when we weren't doing very well, 4-7, 5-6, but just seeing, the steps of, how are we going to get there? It's going to take some commitment. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. We've got to make sure that we get the right kids, here. And, we got a lot of Western Kansas kids that fit, Hays and fit Fort Hays State and fit me, because I'm a Western Kansas guy myself. And, we're a little different sometimes, but and that's what it was. And just, just keeping encouraging them. A lot of guys, beat the guys down when they've already been beat. And, when we were losing ball games, I was nothing but positive and just telling them, this is where we're trying to get to. And when we won some ball games, it was never good enough. There was things that we could do better. And it was just loving them and caring for them and just showing them, certain situations that, we are making progress. It is going in the right direction. Just stay to the grind, keep believing in what we're doing, and things are going to work out. And, our kids have done that. They just believe in one another. They come closer as a family. They're there for each other, and you see that every single day with our guys, and every one of them believe. It was beat Northwest this year. We finally beat every team in the MIAA. Excuse me. Which once you beat them, now your kids believe you can beat them. So it was a process of taking one game at a time, and then just worrying about that game and worry about us more than anything else. Don't worry about a Northwest or a Pittsburgh State. Worry about Fort Hays State University and how we're going to make ourselves better, how we're going to make this team better, and how we're going to make this community better as well. And that's what we've done so far.
You touched on recruiting. I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you've done a pretty good job of getting the Western Kansas player and trying to recruit and get the best athletes. Some have panned out, some haven't, but they're getting a shot. Recruiting's got to be a challenge, because obviously if you can recruit more local, that helps for a lot of reasons, but you still have to expand that if you want to have a successful program in the MIAA, and you seem to have had a good balance of all of that.
It is. You don't want to get too many kids from out of state. You don't want to get too many kids from in-state, but my goal is we got to make sure that we keep the kids in Western Kansas, at home. We got to keep them close, and whatever I got to do to keep them here at Fort Hays State, I'm going to do that, because those kids are going to bring fans as well, and they're going to have the support from their families and their communities, and you know, that just makes this whole thing work. And then, you know, we are going to go to Colorado, we're going to go to Nebraska, Oklahoma, you know, a little bit in Kansas City, and you know, a little bit in Texas, and a little bit in Florida. But you know, that our core is going to be, you know, Kansas, Colorado, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and the Kansas City area. That's going to be where our core kids come from. So it's not a big radius, but I think there's enough kids in that area. If once they get here and see what we have going on, you know, they get excited about it, just the things that we're talking about and the things that we're doing. And you know, as coaches, we try to sell our program pretty well, but it's really our kids, when those recruits get on campus, just them meeting with our players and hanging out with them at nights and understanding exactly what this program's about is really what brings those kids here.
We're talking with head football coach Chris Brown of the Fort Hays State Tigers. It's Community Connections. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more right after this.
Hi, I'm Gary Shorman, President and CEO of Eagle Communications, a 100% employee-owned company. I'd like to personally thank you for selecting Eagle for your internet, television, and telephone service. By choosing Eagle, you're choosing to keep your dollars local with a company that reinvests back in your community. Let's make this a great year for your community. Check us out at eaglecom.net. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE.
Welcome back. It's Community Connections. Gerard Welbrock in for Mike Cooper, who you saw open the show. Glad to be a part of this one with head football coach Chris Brown of the Fort Hays State Tigers, coming off a great season. MIAA champions this past year. Looking forward to a great upcoming season in 2018. And we kind of touched on recruiting, and it's a busy time. I think a lot of folks, the football season ends and they think, okay, the coaches get a little break. It's actually, in some regards, almost busier for you guys. And when you add the last 2 years, you've had bowl games and then the playoffs this year, you're kind of balancing game prep and all that still goes on, but recruiting, because, I mean, that's the lifeblood of any program. You got to keep the talent coming in. So you guys have actually been almost as busy here in the last month and a half, and will be here for this next month of January into February as you are at any point in the year.
It is. You know, when the season's here, it's 7 days a week. When recruiting here, it's 7 days a week as well. And it's almost a longer 7 days a week than your normal season. And it's just, you know, we're away from our families more, you know, during recruiting than we are during the season. I mean, we're on the road for, you know, 3 weeks straight. And it, you know, even before our playoff game, you know, we had that bye week. You know, that week we were out recruiting already, trying to find some kids for next year, and then we were preparing for our game and practices, and you know, that's a really, really tough week when you got guys out here on the road and the guys over here on the road, but then we still got to have a practice, and so we got to change some things around for practice to make sure that we're getting things accomplished in practice as well. Then they come back and then we get ready for game, and you know, it's a busy time. You know, we got visits coming up here in January. You know, our players don't get back until January 14th, so we're going to have a visit on, you know, the 14th, 15th, and then the 16th, 17th, and then we're going to keep rolling those every Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday for the next 3 weeks until signing day in February. And you know, those are some very, very long days. You know, you get the kids in here at, you know, around 10 o'clock, and you know, I don't go home and probably get to bed till about 11 o'clock on that day, just with meeting with each kid and his parents, you know, in my office, and going through scholarships, or maybe the kids will walk on, or going through the walk-on opportunity, and what to expect in the years to come. And you know, I just think that's the right thing to do, is just sit down with the kid and the parent, whether it's a scholarship kid or a walk-on kid, just to let them know, you know, this is how we do things and this is what we're about. But you know, it's a hard time, and it's tough. But you know, as the years go on, and the success that we've had has made it a little bit easier to getting kids. And you know, it's fun. I enjoy it. But it is time consuming, and it really wears you out, and it wears our coaching staff out. But you know, when February on that signing day rolls around, you know, we're usually pretty excited, you know, about the kids that we've had. And you know, last year we had about 50 kids sign with us last year, and we're hoping to do that again this year, sign another 50 kids. We just want to build our program and keep getting more. The more kids we get out, I think the better our program is going to be. And this is the biggest group of kids that we're going to have going into spring. We're going to have about 100 kids going into spring, where years past is around 80. So that's going to give us an opportunity to see more kids up close and personal, and get to see more kids on the field and what they can do. And it's going to help us with special teams and all kinds of different things in our program. So I think if we just get the numbers out and keep our numbers up, I think that success can continue.
With the success, you mentioned two bowl games, the playoffs a year ago, MIAA championship. Have you noticed a difference when you're out and trying to convince a student to come to Fort Hays State, or even make an on-campus visit to try to make your pitch to help them become Tigers? Have you seen a change in maybe how Fort Hays State is viewed from some of these recruits in the last few years?
Yeah, since we went to the first bowl game, I think it's kind of really turned the tide for us a little bit. Kids know about Fort Hays State University football now, and they're excited about it, and they want to come to games on Saturday, and they want to come visit and see what we're all about. And we've had more kids this year just to come to the games on Saturday, because we was kind of do an unofficial visit every Saturday home game, and we had a lot of kids come to those. I bet we had around 100 to 200 kids just come to those games, and we always do a little talk then about who we are and what we're doing, and then we try to get those kids up for official visits. But I think the excitement's there. The thing that we really struggle with is the KU and K-States of the world, and Washburn and Pitt and Emporia, for these in-state kids. And hopefully we can win those battles. And it's just, just let them know that when they get here that they're going to be taken care of. And I'm going to treat them just, like they're my own sons. I don't know if that's really good for them or bad, but I love my two kids.
Don't have them talk to your boys.
Exactly. I love them. I love my kids very much, and I respect them very much. But we're going to teach them to do the things the right way, and academics are important, and you're a student athlete. You're a student first, because the first thing I want to see you do is graduate from college. I want to see you walk across that platform and get your degree, and then the football part comes second, and that's what I try to tell them. You're a student first. Football is just a bonus. You're getting the opportunity to play football in college, so make sure you're getting your degree first. And if you win in the classroom, you can win in the community and win in the weight room, we're going to win games on Saturday. And I think that's just the way it works.
Facilities as always, and you'll get the MIAA. I mean, Washburn's building a new indoor. Pitt has it. Fort Hays State was one of the first after Missouri Western. Folks have been on the Lewis Field. The new video board is the board's up, and then this spring the rest of the structure will be put around. It's going to be a great addition to the stadium, and I know there's plans for press box expansion, different things, and it's such an arms race. But the improvements made, especially that indoor facility, it has to help when you bring students on, because it seems like now everybody's trying to get one, and you're pretty fortunate you've had that for not only helps with recruiting, but obviously it's come in handy in preparation when the weather has not been well to be outside. But all those things play a big part in trying to get those kids here.
They are. It's a huge part, and you hate saying it, but a lot of times when you're recruiting a kid, they go to a program, and what they look at is, okay, what am I getting? Am I getting 3 pair of gloves, 2 cleats? What else? What are the facilities like? What's the locker room like? And you hate that it comes down to that sometimes. With some kids, you're hoping that they just look at a program, and really what they're going to get out of a program, is what you hope a kid would look at, when they go somewhere. But it is a facilities race, and who has the best facilities, and what do you have to offer me? And that indoor has been tremendous for us. It's really helped us get some kids, in the end, towards recruiting, when the kids looking at different schools, saying, okay, this is what you have, and this is why I'm coming. And I love the coaching staff, and I love your facilities, and I love the things that are happening at Fort Hays State University. And the scoreboard is tremendous. I didn't realize how big it was really going to be until it's up, and you go out there and look at it, and you still can't believe how big and massive that thing is. And then when the rock goes around it as well, it's going to make it even look bigger. And those are the things that we have to keep continuing to do to keep this program going in the right direction. And then Curtis does a great job of understanding what we're needing and the direction we're trying to go. And he wants to continue winning ball games, and we want to make this a dynasty. And I think we're getting very, very close to that. But facilities are important, and we got some of the greatest facilities in Kansas, and I'm excited about the future and where we're going, with our facilities as well.
Yeah, the video board, to see it up, you see pictures and what it's going to be like, but until it's actually up, you realize, wow, that's going to be a great addition. I think the fans are really going to love it. You talk about taking it to the next level. Obviously, the playoffs, that was a great experience, but kind of left a bad taste at the end, just the way it ended against a very good Ferris State team. Hopefully that kind of lays some more groundwork and gets your team motivated to do what they have to do to get back, and then once they get back, try to make a run. As you see it, what has to happen to now take that next step, get back to the playoffs, win some playoff games to make a run at a national championship?
I just think we got to work even harder than what we were working. Our kids worked pretty tough. That senior class that we just had was a tremendous senior class. They did everything the right way. We talked about the classroom already. Every one of those guys is going to graduate from Fort Hays State University, and that is huge. Every one of those guys made every single workout, whether it was a morning run, whether it was lifting, made every meeting, made every practice. And they were never late. They never made excuses. They never got in trouble with the law. They stayed out of trouble. They just did things the right way, and that's going to be hard to top. And that's what I told that junior class. This is going to be a hard class to top. Can you top these guys? They went 11-1. They got into the playoffs, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of commitment on their part, and making sure that the younger guys do things the right way, because they got to depend a lot on those young guys, especially for special teams and filling in, in certain situations, just to give guys rest here and there. And if they don't prepare them and get them guys, make sure they're doing the things the right way, then this thing's not going to work. And the playoffs, it was an experience for our guys as well. Those kids have, I've played in some, I've coached in some, so I knew exactly what it was going to be like. The intensity is a much higher level. Mm-hmm. The physicality of the game is at a much higher level. Just the speed of the game as well, is so much different. Until you actually experience it, you really don't know. And I think that was a good experience for, even our seniors, but just for our kids, our juniors, sophomores, freshmen, to be in that situation, to understand, okay, this is how we take the next step. These are the things that we have to do, to get to the next step. And that's, watching more film, picking up our intensity in practice, working on the little things with fundamentals and techniques, and making sure that we are ready, when that game comes. But, we still got 11 games in there that are like playoff games anyway, from the first game to the last, and we got to make sure that we take care of business, through the regular season to put us in this situation so we can get to the playoffs again.
You mentioned the senior class, and it was a tremendous class, and only 13, that's the exciting part. It's, in relatively speaking, a small senior class. I want to bring up one of them, Nathan Shepard, a tremendous 3-year career at Fort Hays State, tons of accolades, Defensive Player of the Year, the MIAA, in the running for the Defensive Player, Lineman of the Year, and for small college football. He's going to be in the Senior Bowl. A great chance to extend his career to the next level professionally, either the NFL or Canadian football. What does a player like that do to a program? And you had Cito the year before, who was the Defensive Player of the Year at the MIAA. When you're getting that type of player, and anyone who's run into Nathan knows what a great guy he is, and just fun to get to know. Players like that have to be so important to a program, to the success on the field, but also for the future Tigers as well. Yeah,
it's huge. And the funny thing a lot of people probably don't know about Nathan Shepard is Nathan actually walked on here at Fort Hays State University. He was a young man that went to Simon Fraser. They cut scholarships, so he was one of those guys. And when he first got to college, he was like 6'2", 210. And so they cut scholarships, so his was one of the scholarships that got cut. So he just went back home and worked for 2 weeks. Tried to get some other colleges, and Coach McCray somehow found this kid. We didn't know who he was or anything about him, so we said he had to walk on in the spring. So he walked on, the spring before his sophomore year, and look how far he's gone. But just the things that he's done and the accolades and the NFL scouts, coming through, daily, up in our offices. Our players see that, so that gets them excited, and they practice a little bit harder, when the NFL scouts are there. And but it's just him as a person and what he's done has really helped us, expand our program and get our name out there even more, than what it is now. And just tell other kids, that we are recruiting. Here's what can happen. If you put the time and the effort in and the work, and if you have the talent and the ability, you'll get your chance, to go to the next level. And he's going to graduate too. This May. He's got. This next 6 months is going to be very, very busy, for Nathan with the Senior Bowl. He'll probably get possibly invited to the combine, but just different workouts and also taking 15 hours to graduate. He's got to be able to handle all that, but he's a mature enough kid that he's going to find a way to make sure he manages his time well and gets all those things done, and that's something Nathan was good at. He always managed his time well. He always did well in the classroom. He always made sure that he was eating properly, and he was a guy that he did extra things after practice. You know, a lot of guys didn't do those things, but you know, he was one of those guys that put the extra time and effort in to get where he is now. And when you got a kid like that and everybody sees that, that can only make your program better.
Well, we certainly wish him the best of luck. It's been really a pleasure to watch him play the last 3 years. Great run your program has been on. Have you had any time to enjoy it and even reflect back of what you've accomplished thus far? I mean, you know, when you're in the midst of it and you're wanting, I mean, you haven't reached the goals you want to reach yet, but do you get a chance to step back and enjoy any of it as it goes? Or is it, I mean, season ends, we're on to recruiting, on to the next year?
That's kind of what it is. You know, we just had a really, really good season. I'm so thankful for it. You know, God truly has blessed us, you know, with a great season and with great kids, and, you know, and it really is, you enjoy it for about one day, you know, and that's really about it, because you're right back into recruiting. Then you have Christmas break and you're still trying to find kids and recruit kids, and you know, not really yet. I think when it'll all said and done, once recruiting gets over and we have that signing day, that's probably when it'll hit us and we can look back and say, man, look what these kids have done, look what our coaching staff has done, and the support from our community. You know, it's a tremendous thing, but it is exciting. You know, you think about those things, but it was good, but it still wasn't good enough, and there's a lot of work to be done. I don't want to make this just a one-time thing. I want to continue winning conference championships. I want to continue, you know, trying to work towards a national championship, and you know, hopefully we can get that done. But I think with the kids that we have and the kids that we're going to bring in, you know, hopefully here in either next year or in a few years after, you know, we're bringing home the big one, and that's the national championship.
I'm all for that. That'd be a lot of fun, and certainly wish you the best of luck in that process. Coach, we appreciate the time. Good to visit with you again and get to know you a little bit more in depth in the Fort Hays State program. Again, thanks for a great season. It was a blast, and hopefully just the tip of the iceberg of things to come for Fort Hays State football.
Yeah, thank you, Gerard. I want to thank our fans as well, you know, for all your support. Curtis Hambicky and Mike Barnett, you know, all those guys in the athletic office and the ladies as well that work up front, and you and all your support and all you do, man. We couldn't do without any of you, and you know, we really, really appreciate it, and it was a fun season, and hopefully we can continue to do this thing, you know, for years to come.
Sounds good. That's head football coach Chris Brown of the Fort Hays State Tigers, and that's going to be a wraps on our program today. Certainly glad to have you a part of it here on Community Connections on Eagle Cable TV, our Community Connection.
For over 60 years, Eagle Communications has been the leader in value and service. And over that time, our specialized teams have been helping businesses grow, because Eagle is your one-stop for business solutions. We can provide the latest in hosted phone, reliable fiber internet, IT support, business compliance, and network planning. Plus, we offer affordable advertising on television, radio, and digital platforms. Call our employee owners today and let us serve you. Eagle Communications, our community connected.